the different generations of people that you're recruiting, you have to go where the people are. So, maybe they aren't on radio anymore, so maybe they're on Facebook or maybe they're on Instagram.
If you're a marketing person or an HR person, I know Angela's really good at this, walking around. I know everybody on the Nick's leadership team is really good. You get to know these people so that when you're ready to start putting them on camera, they feel a little bit more comfortable, at least around you.
Welcome to Making Sparks, the podcast where we ignite your passion for metal fabrication and fuel your business success. Join industry leaders and dive deep into the world of metalworking. From business insights to tips of the trade, Making Sparks is your forge of knowledge. During each episode, discover success stories, innovative solutions, and expert interviews that light the path to business growth. Subscribe today and grow and improve your company, and let's make sparks fly together.
Welcome back to the Making Sparks podcast. This is episode 3, part 2 of our recruiting podcast, where we have Lindsay Nix and Angela Curlin from Nix Companies and my co-host Matthew Nix from Nix Companies. And to kick it off, I'm supposed to tell a dad joke, but we recorded these 2 parts in one day and I only had one prepared. And Lindsay told us one off camera that we think is really funny.
So you had a long list.
No, the audience is going to create my list for me.
That's right. Yeah. So a reminder to the audience, if you've got good dad jokes, send them in.
Send them our way.
We don't care about you telling us what people to interview on this podcast. We don't care about that stuff. We just want you to tell us dad jokes. So,
okay,
Lindsay,
well,
tell us your
hopefully
dad
I don't
joke.
blush. So why do squirrels like to swim on their back? Nobody?
No.
They don't want to get their nuts wet.
It's really good.
That's pretty
All right.
That's appropriate for this podcast, I think.
I don't know if our kids should maybe go to school and tell that one quite yet. But.
Well, don't let them watch the podcast. They can watch the Touchy Philly videos, but not the podcast.
Yeah.
Matthew cussed earlier, so
I'll keep it PG-13.
There we go.
Not as bad as Adam, your brother, at the meeting.
If we bring Adam on the show, we will bring
We'll need
him
a
on.
bleeper.
We either need a bleeper or we'll tell him to be on his best
That's
day.
right.
So, hey, we're professionalism, something we talked about in the last episode. So we're trying to be real here.
Yeah.
So our industry can be kind of rough. People can have sailors' mouths. I grew up on the shop floor. My dad could hang in there with the best sailors there is. He can use the F word in the most creative way you have ever heard. And so as we've grown and tried to become more professional, we want to be real, but it is, you do have to evolve and grow. And so we are trying to be more professional. We talked in the last episode about we've had a lot of success recruiting women into our shop environment. And we wouldn't be as successful recruiting women in our shop environment if we weren't intentional about being more professional. And we don't say the F word every other word anymore, and we try to be respectful of each other. So, but every now and then, the old welder redneck comes out. All right, so we're going at last episode. We talked about some higher level, maybe philosophical, strategic type things. In this episode, we want to really get into some practical, tactical things that we're doing to move us forward in the area of recruiting and onboarding team members.
From the outside looking in, one of the first things I saw that Nix Companies was doing really good was I feel like you guys have had an internship program forever, and you probably haven't, but it feels like it. And not only is it an internship program obviously for college students, but also for some of the local high school students. Can you guys talk about a little bit about the internship programs you guys have developed over the years?
Yeah, so probably one of our strongest partnerships that we have is with the Southern Indiana Career and Technical Center. I think one of the key ways that we got in there is, we went into the classrooms, we met with the instructors, we formed a relationship with the instructors. I cannot stress that enough. We were in those classrooms quite often, interacting with the students. We speak to the classes, but we would continually follow up with that instructor on, what's going on next, what kind of openings do we have, and so they have an internship program there where high school seniors half day can actually come and get a job with us and intern with us. The great part, and why I say I feel like it's so important to get a good relationship with that instructor, is they'll actually feed you the good ones. Yeah. We had our welding instructor here at the tech center, just a great guy, kind of got that welder redneck in him a little bit that Matthew alluded to. But, he will, if you can build that relationship with them, he obviously wants these kids to succeed, and actually, wants a good name for his program. So he will actually say, yes, you want him. Nope, don't take this one. He's going to be lazy. You want him. So it's been a phenomenal partnership. A lot of these, I want to call them kids because to me they are, but a lot of the students that come out of there, we're offering them full time right out of high school. And, there's yes. So just recently, we had our first one this summer. He came from the tech center as well. He came from their engineering program. Just a all around good kid, does a great job, picks up fast, fits right into our culture. He loves working with our engineering department. He has a lot of fun out there. So we actually tailored our tuition reimbursement program and offered that to him. So he's going to be going to school at Murray State. He's going to go for 4 years. We're going to help him out with this tuition. In turn, he's going to come back and work for us during his breaks, during spring break, winter break, and then he's going to he'll be with us for at least 2 years. Obviously, we hope he sticks around for a long time, but it's just really, really cool that we're able to do that, and to give back to those interns. It's just kind of where our future is headed, I believe.
Yeah. And I'll add to that. We've partnered with some of the high school programs as well, and we're inviting them in to do field trips. So, kids, they always want to get out of school. And I think teachers secretly love to get out of the school too.
They have to see it though.
Yeah.
But it's impactful. A real thing. They can come in, they can see our shops. And I think, especially if they're going to come out and go look at other shops, they're going to see wow, this place is really nice. They've got nice equipment. They've got nice facilities. We give them a great presentation. We talk about our mission, vision, core values in those presentations, so we're feeding them all of these things that we've worked on.
That you can make
we say, you're going to start out at X amount of dollars when you are an intern. And if you want to come here full time, this is what you're going to get paid. And these are going to be your benefits. And if you want to go back to college, hey, we'll help you do that too. So it's opening their eyes to these great opportunities to an employer who's right at their back door. So they could be 18 years old and still get to live at home with mom and dad and make all this money. And it is a great thing to get them exposed. Working with the workforce development organizations that are in your community. There's so many people who are helping high school and college students with career readiness. It's really getting yourself out there and getting connected with them. And putting in the work. This is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. But I'm sure as we were speaking in this podcast, recruitment is probably your biggest problem. So where are you going to put your resources?
Yeah, and I think people are probably thinking some of the stuff you're talking about, it's sort of duh. Yeah. But the difference is you got to just put in the work.
Yeah.
People know you need to do internships. You need to be working with your school. The difference is you guys are putting in the work and investing in it. And people don't think twice about taking a customer to lunch. Well, why aren't you taking the tech school teacher to lunch?
Yeah.
If hiring is your problem, sales isn't your problem, presumably hiring, invest in hiring the way you invest in sales and marketing, and it won't be such a challenge.
It's going to the community meetings and meeting these people. And, Angela's working on this. I'm working on this. We've got 2 other gals in our organization that are working on this, that are creating those key relationships with folks. So they're saying, man, Nick's is an awesome place to work. Let's funnel more people into there. Because they're wanting to help our community. Stronger employees make stronger communities, make better school. There's all of this feeds into one big, community that we live in. So that's where we need to be investing that time.
Let me ask you this, and maybe I'm just naive, but it's not typical to have internships in fabrication industry, is it? Or it's probably becoming typical now. But has it always been typical?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the way. In the old days, they did it a lot better.
Yeah.
But it was more apprenticeships and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, internship, apprenticeship. Yeah. Okay. But we probably need to pivot to another topic here to stay on time.
Well, you talk about investing in your recruiting, like taking that teacher out of lunch or whatever. But what are some other things that Nick's Companies is doing that's investing in recruiting?
Yeah. So I think one great thing that we have done that's gone over really well is an employee spotlight. So we always talk, most companies have employee of the month programs. Well, we're taking that to a whole nother level. And it's not really employee of the month because we think all of our people are great. So we're not just going to celebrate one of them, but it's more of a spotlight. So it's we're doing these videos where we're coming in and it's following them through their work process. So we're getting great footage of them doing the job that they do every day, but we're also getting to learn more about themselves, their family, what they like to do outside of work, what they love most about working at Nick's. And this is kind of a twofold on the benefits to Nick's. So one, we're getting to highlight that employee. So it's going on our Facebook page, it's going on our Instagram page. So their wife or mom or daughter or son or whoever, grandma, the grandmas love the Facebook post of our employees.
Yeah.
Can
It's not
share
just internal.
Yeah,
Some
that's
people
right.
just do it
That's right.
internal.
Yeah.
I mean, the external part of it.
They're sharing it. So, think of those people. It's just, the value of a share on Facebook is exponential, because that's going to all, so that person has 1,000 friends, so it's going to all thousands of those people, and then that person thinks that's cool, so they're sharing it. So you're getting that exposure. Our employees are sharing it because they love the guy that's working next to them and they think they're a great person, so they're sharing it. They're proud of the place that they work. And then we're getting brand awareness out of that. So, some of our customers are seeing this. We can use this in customer presentations, because customers know that if the people like where they work, they're going to be caring about their work. They're going to be caring about the quality. They're going to be caring about the final product. So that carries through. So it's just so important that we're getting all this footage. We're getting B-roll for other footage, other marketing promotional videos. So just taking the time to do those videos once a month, and we're strategic about it. We try and go from division to division. So we're getting some machining, we're getting some fabrication, we're getting some painting, we're getting some field work. So we're very strategic in how we do that. But it's great. And what I love about the way we do the videos is we don't give them a script. We don't say these are the questions we're going to ask you tomorrow, so you can be prepared for this. It's very authentic. And you can tell in a video when someone has rehearsed, I love working at Nick's because of XYZ. It's great. You're getting it off the cuff. It's very genuine. And those clips and snippets can be used for a whole variety of things, not just that employee spotlight. So yeah, we have a budget for that, but we're getting to use all of that footage and snippets for everything that we're producing throughout the year and on.
We didn't always do that through video. It started out, it was just in our newsletter.
Yeah.
That's how it started. It was a photo, like a lot of other people do. And we would write, what's your favorite thing about working here? What's a funny story? Yada, yada. And then it evolved into video. You were a big part of that, Casey.
Yeah.
We've been working with you for several years. So why don't you bring the industry expertise to that a little bit and just talk about, because I think what audience might be thinking, we don't have a videographer on staff. We don't have a budget to hire a company like yours, Captivated Content. So what can somebody do that doesn't have a budget for that, doesn't have a videographer on staff?
Well, first I want to talk about just the benefits of doing it. Lindsay hit nail on the head. One of the things that a lot of companies struggle is getting enough content to share online, showing their people working on interesting projects, getting in progress photos. If you invest a little bit in video, and not just hiring professional video, you can just use your phone. Our phones shoot 4K video, but you invest in that, you now have an opportunity to be able to take screen grabs for social media posts. You're getting other content that you're using there, so that's a big benefit. But if you're thinking you don't have the budget to hire an external videographer, or some companies are hiring internal videographers. I think it's becoming a commodity, and I think that's a good thing. I think video, if the pandemic taught us anything, video is a great way to tell your story without having to fly someone into your facility. I still think people need to do that, but that's a good thing. But like I was saying, one of the simplest things is use your phone. The software today, you can put your phone on, buy a little cheap tripod, and you can tell stories really easily with your phone. People do it all the time. Even most podcasts are really just done over Zoom or something like that. But the most
audio, cheap tricks on audio.
I would say the most important thing is probably more important than your video is your audio. And so nowadays you can buy a $20 microphone that plugs right into your phone, right? Or even probably cheaper than that. I'll tell you, the lavs we use are $16 lavs. And people are like, well, you're perfect. Oh, sorry. A lav mic is, a lav mic is a mic that you clip on someone's shirt, and actually, just to give a tip, I would recommend people using lavalier mics is what they're called. But I give people, I tell them to do that because when you're in a loud environment, your body will actually block a lot of that noise. You put their back against the loud environment and you'll actually block it. A lot of people are like, how do you get good audio in these loud fabrication shops? And I'm like, you just got to make sure the mic's closer to the person than it is to the other sounds. But yeah, and I was going to say, another thing that most people think about is you're talking about authentic responses and not giving them a script. And if a company asks you, we don't know if our people are going to be good on camera. Well, guess what? Nick's companies and not just Nick's company, a lot of the companies we work with, none of these people are used to being on camera. I'm not used to being on camera. What it comes down to it is making sure that whoever's helping you produce these videos, that they're kind of outgoing and makes them comfortable. But then
Tell some dad jokes.
That's what I'm saying. You get them, my trick, especially if there's like some marketing people that are listening to this, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna start shooting some videos for our company. Because a lot of times that's kind of how it goes, right? The marketing person starts taking over doing videos and stuff. My tip is, get to know the people before you even start interviewing. I love just the other day, yesterday we were shooting an employee spotlight for Nick's, and we were interviewing a guy that has been here for 5-6 years, I can't remember. And another guy walked up and I was like, oh man, I don't know that guy. And he walks by and I think he was getting water, and he talked about how the water jug was really low. And he was like, man, he's like, we need to put this. I go, well, you're in a fabrication shop. I go, why don't you just weld something up and put it on top? He goes, that's a good idea. And then I go, well, I'm Casey. And, he introduced himself to me. And I said, you probably maybe see me every once in a while. I'm the video guy. And he'll be like, oh yeah. And him starts talking, good chance if he sticks around, he'll be an employee spotlight and he'll remember me.
Yeah.
And I say that in the story of, if you're a marketing person or an HR person, I know Angela's really good at this, walking around. I know everybody on the Nick's leadership team is really good. You get to know these people so that when you're ready to start putting them on camera, they feel a little bit more comfortable, at least around you. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So video spotlights, video in general has been a big asset of ours. We're talking specifically about employee spotlights here, team member spotlights we call them, but we use video in all sorts of other ways. We've actually been doing like video job descriptions recently, where we're taking a job and instead of just writing it on paper, having somebody on camera and we're asking our various team members to talk about what's unique about working here and what they love about working here. And so there's a lot of different things you can do.
And that was all done off camera. We didn't have a videographer for that.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
think we shot it with an iPhone.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
was.
Yeah,
And our lav
yeah.
mics.
So even having Casey, as a partner with Captivated Content, he's doing so well. He's so busy he can't get to all of our stuff. So we're having our marketing folks just take an iPhone and
in my defense, I do tell a lot of companies and I know we're going to talk about social media. You can't hire a company like Captivated Content or anybody just to run your social media. Like, it's a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
I get excited.
You bring the expertise, but you can't bring the authenticity
Exactly.
and
sometimes timeliness. I mean, even being a close partner with you guys, I can't always like you said, get around to it in a timely manner. So what benefits you guys is us helping whoever your internal person is, give them a few tips and tricks, or as soon as she emails and says, hey, how do you do this? Email back and say, this is how you should do it. If you don't have that, go do it this way.
Yeah, you're an extension of our team. So.
Hey everyone, this is Adam Schmidt with ProFab Alliance, bringing you the sparks of knowledge for today's episode. If you're trying out for a sports team, you're not just going to take some written test, and it's a full tryout, and it could be over several days. Why aren't we doing that in our shops? Invite those candidates to come in and work a half a day or a full day where you actually pay them. Give them a couple projects to try out. See how they do, see how they mesh with the other team members. You may lose a couple of candidates that don't want to participate in that. Honestly, on the other side of it, they should want to do that because they want to come to a place that they'll enjoy working. So it's not only a tryout for them, but they're actually able to try out the company and see, is it a good fit for me as well? So overall, I think you need to, take those interviews a step further, get creative and think outside the box on how we can make sure that each one of our future team members is a great fit and will eventually retire with us.
Yeah, so let's get into social media. I mean, that's something, again, I think listeners might be going, duh, yeah, you got to use social media. But, we we've built a strong social media audience, but that didn't happen overnight. And I think that goes to what Lindsay talked about earlier. People see the audience we have, the social media presence we have, and they go, tell us how to do that. Well, it took 10 years to get there. And it was intentionality and authenticity and repetitiveness, just over and over and over again. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about that and how we're maybe how we got there and then how we're harnessing it today.
Yeah.
For recruitment
specifically.
For recruitment.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think when we first, it's funny when you go back and just marketing in general, you go back to like what we did 10 years ago versus what we did today. And we like kind of chuckle to ourselves, but like we were like state of the art 10 years ago. So I think part of it is, following the trends of social media. So it's, following companies like Captivated Content and these people who are putting out information for free. So listening to podcasts about like what is the next greatest thing, because you have to stay up with it. They didn't have TikTok and they didn't have Instagram and, some of these things that now, the different generations of people that you're recruiting, you have to go where the people are. So, maybe they aren't on radio anymore. So maybe they're on Facebook or maybe they're on Instagram. But we've had to be really intentional about doing that recruitment on our social media channels. So being intentional about posting, the way the algorithms work with Facebook, like the more you post and the more engagement you have, the more your stuff is going to get shown. So in the beginning, we would, in our team meeting, we'd say, hey, we posted these new jobs on Facebook. Can you share it on Facebook? Can you share this post on Facebook? We don't have to do that anymore. But in the beginning, we were doing that. We were sending out emails or walking through the shops. Hey, can you share this on Facebook? Make sure we're sharing this on Facebook. So we're getting more people. It was inviting people. I remember when we used to go through, and if someone would like a post, but they didn't like our Facebook page, we'd all take time and like invite them to like the Facebook page. I mean, all of us were doing it. And it seems so silly. Like that is, not something that you would think about. But, as you gain more followers, you're going to get more engagement. We've been intentional about how we put the videos. So, think about when you're scrolling through Facebook and something catches your eye. It's because something, it's either a visual in the picture or now visual in the video caught your eye and they're like, okay, I'm going to stop and look at that. So it's making sure we don't have something boring at the beginning that is, it's going to catch their eye, especially on Instagram. So it's really paying attention to like the trends of what's happening in the social media world.
You talk about vertical video a lot.
Yeah, that's a huge trend. And then like scroll stopping. I just added we're talking about scroll stopping content, and that's at 3 to 5 seconds. That something that we actually probably should test a little bit more at Nix is this. As you do more paid social media, is putting a few different kinds of things at the very beginning. Like if it's a recruitment video, it's the same video, but at the beginning, maybe have a B-roll shot of someone welding, creating sparks, but then do the exact same video and test it of Angela on camera talking and see which one recruits the right person for you. And maybe they both do it equally and you got to run them both. I was going to say, you've been talking about Instagram and TikTok and all these platforms, but I think the one that Nix has really grown on is LinkedIn. And I don't think it's just posting on the page of LinkedIn, but it's the leadership team regularly using LinkedIn to help recruit. And most of that's going to be your corporate talent.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of back up too and mention just a couple things. When we decide like what social media platform we're going to use, it's always a good idea. Like every year when we're recruiting, we're even getting down into the classrooms, we ask them, hey, what do you use for social media? Like if you say, sometimes you can walk in and say Facebook and they just glaze over.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that's what
if I'm trying to recruit to this demographic, well, Facebook probably isn't the route I need to go. Yeah. So always kind of be thinking about, who you're recruiting to and what, what demographic they are and what best social media tool to use. But also on the flip side, we're really struggling right now to find those experienced, that older generation.
That's what I was going to say. Facebook's still relevant.
It sure is, yeah.
And we have the biggest audience there.
Yeah.
For the mid-level folks.
Yeah.
Or executive senior level folks.
Yeah, it's going into the shops and talking to those folks. Talk to the ones that, hey, I want somebody just like him. Go see how, what his suggestions are. What kind of tools does he use? Yeah. And I kind of laughed. I mean, this just happened this morning. We're on this big search for machinists right now, for the experienced machinists. And I went up to the operations manager. I'm just trying to think of where else can we post? Where can we post? And I asked him, I said, hey, just shoot me straight. I go, our machinist on LinkedIn. And he just kind of looked at me and he goes, I'm so glad you worded it that way because my old HR manager just said, hey, you're type of people on LinkedIn. So I was glad I framed it the way I did. But I mean, it's just asking those questions because it's no sense in going and recruiting to the areas and, and spend your money to recruit to those on those platforms.
What was his answer?
No, he didn't.
So I think some of them are.
He didn't. He said he didn't think so, but he actually took the time and he actually went because he's a former machinist, so he got on LinkedIn and just kind of searched up 5 or 6 of people that he's worked with in the past, and they weren't on there. So that's not to say that they're not, but it really kind of helps you really know where to focus your efforts.
Yeah. And what you were saying about growing our audience on LinkedIn, what's been really cool to see, and we're all struggling with finding the skilled shop floor talent. But we have no shortage of folks in the more office professional type roles of people saying like, I want to be a part of that because they see the stuff that we're posting on LinkedIn. We're sharing the cool stories about promotions on the shop floor, from an intern going to a lead, going to a foreman, those kind of things. So I think we do a really good job at getting that across on LinkedIn. And you can go to that and you'll see that a lot of the stuff we post isn't about what we do. We throw in some like project posts because that's, part of the selling
The
tactic
focus is
too.
on the people.
But it's always on the people. Like I've always said, like, who knows with technology, like what we're going to be building in 20 years. Like our people are always going to be our biggest asset. So that's the thing that we need to be selling.
Yeah, that's good. So we probably need to wrap up here. How about like each of you, what's one, if you were going to like final thoughts, final advice.
It could be like, what's a trend that you guys are seeing in your professional opinions in recruiting in the fabrication industry, or even a tip? Like if they had to take one tip from you guys, even if it's something we've already talked about, what's one tip or a trend that people should be thinking about when they're recruiting for their fabrication or even machining business or whatever?
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Just don't take mine.
Okay. Hopefully I won't take yours. I think trend, especially with hiring a new generation, it is about what we want to call work-life balance. Is that what you're going to say?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Continue.
So
you can do a tip. She did a trend.
It's not about how much money am I going to make. It's about how much time do I get off with my family? Do I have to work on Saturdays? Do I have to work overtime? And not that the generation before didn't care about that time with family, but there's just a shift, I think, since COVID happened and we've had this time at home with our families, and we're all longing to have that, and we all want that too. And I think we do a really good job at Nix at providing that good balance for our folks. But it's people want to know. They want to work to be a part of their life, but they don't want it to be everything of their life. So it's portraying how you can have this great family at work and great family at home, and how we're going to support you in your work life so you can have the best home life with your family. So I think that, with video and with, the things that we're doing to get that point across to those people. It was great. One of our managers today, and I hope I'm not stealing this from you too, he's like, if we could just get them here and they see what it's like to work here, like they won't want to leave, they'll want to be here. So it's getting them into the door, and it's using all these tools that we talked about to get into the interview so they can be like, oh yeah, this place is awesome. Like this is where I want to be. Sorry.
Man,
You can even give a tip, or if there's something that she didn't really talk about on that, because it's kind of cool that you guys were both thinking the same trend, which is which I mean a lot of businesses are thinking work-life balance, but if
work-life balance. But I think an underlying thing too is that folks are more that they're looking more for experiences than things, which I don't think necessarily is a bad thing. Instead of working for the new car, I'm generalizing here, of course, but instead of working for a new car or a bigger house, people are longing more for experiences. We have a production level guy right now that asked if he could take a sabbatical and take time off to do some things around the house with his wife. We're actually going to support him on that, but that's just one example. Or somebody wants to take a trip, they want to take extra time off, so people are longing for that. So it's not just work-life balance. I think people want experiences, so maybe think about that too.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much stole it. But I think the only thing that I would also just say, and I know we've spoke on it already, is I just can't reiterate enough how important it is to get into these schools at a young age. I mean, we even, go into the first grade here at North Elementary. Go in, we've got a couple little kids that want to be a welder one day, and even getting in front of them and let them put on the welding hood. Show them a cool, just showing them that there's things outside of, going to college and things like that. But like the little kids, like make it fun for them. We go to the STEM challenge and we have, students anywhere from 6th, 7th grade all the way to seniors. But just the younger you can get up to them and, just kind of describe the trades, describe what you're about, make it fun for them. I think that would be so valuable.
Yeah.
Or is very valuable.
Yeah. Those kids having those experiences at a young age sticks with them. And then when they're graduating from high school or college, they'll be like, I remember that place. Or, we're not just that small business in town anymore. We're the ones.
You could think that long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are making those decisions or those things are in their mind a lot earlier than.
Yeah. I do have, I don't know if you can put this in, but I do have a funny story about that. There, when my son was in the 1st grade, there was a bully in his class that picked on him all the time. And the teacher reached out to us and asked, hey, I've got a student in this class. He really wants to be a welder. Do you have anybody you can bring out? We're having a career day. And I said, sure. So we brought one of our welders with us. And I told him on the way, I said, I think it's this little boy that keeps, he's a bully to my son. And he said, well, we'll take care of that. So we went in, he explained what a welder does and everything. And then you got some one-on-one time. And he told him, I said, the number one thing that a welder needs to be is they need to be friendly. And they need to be friendly with everybody. Like, welders are the friendliest people. So if you can't be friendly, then, the kid was like, yes. And to this day, that is one of my son's best friends. And I think that is so funny.
Awesome.
I mean, just little, I mean that, who knows if that's
right.
what, turn the tide, but just them getting that experience at that little age, it's just kind of a fun little story.
That's a good story.
So,
good stories. Yeah. So I have one other tip to wrap it up that I want to say. So we talked about videos and branding and social media. When you're doing any of this, 2 things that I can't reiterate enough. You have to be authentic and you have to be consistent. If you're not authentic, people can smell the BS a mile away. So be authentic and you got to bang the drum over and over and over again. So the brand that we've built and the things that our brand is known for, the culture that we're known for, is because we repeated it over and over and over again. And it was authentic. And people don't know it's authentic until there's enough time that goes by. And so don't be afraid. Every shop is unique. Something, for example, quality isn't our, best asset. We have to have good enough quality, and believe me, it's a big focus of ours this year. We want to have better and better quality, but we don't do aerospace work. Our quality is not good enough to do aerospace work right now. And so we don't go around recruiting people saying we have the best machines in the world and the best quality in the world, because it's just not true. We aspire to get there someday. So my point is, what is authentic? And for the next person, you may not have the vision, mission, values, and culture we have, but you might have the best equipment in the world. So go find people that want that. And I just think if you focus on that, get everyone aligned around that, eventually you'll have a lot of success. So thank you guys for sharing with us some tips and strategies and some practical ways to move forward in recruiting, which we know is one of the biggest challenges in our industry right now. So hopefully you guys have taken something away from this. Anything you want to add,
No.
Mr. Velker?
No, I was just going to say thank you guys. I think it's really cool when a company really takes a lot of pride in their recruiting. And I think other companies can learn from that. And I think that's why we wanted to talk about this, right? But
We had a lot to say because it took 2 episodes.
I know. Well, I was going to say, we're probably going to have them on again because there was something that they mentioned that I was like, oh, yeah, we should probably talk about that later. And I can't remember what it was. I was going to tease it, but I don't know what it was. But it was definitely...
Lucky for you, we're close.
Yeah, exactly.
So coming up next couple episodes, we're going to be recording from FabTech in Chicago. So really excited about that. Most everybody in our industry knows FabTech is the largest trade show in our industry. We're going to be in Chicago. We're going to have this set up there, so that should be fun. And we're going to do a couple of episodes there. We're going to have the guys from Making Chips on, the founders of Making Chips, who are our partners in this podcast. We're going to have them on the show. That'll be a lot of fun. they're better at this than we are. We're getting there. And then we're also going to bring another fabrication shop leader on the show. So look forward to those next couple episodes.